A new center dedicated to St. Rachel for the children of immigrants in Israel was inaugurated in Jerusalem. A new place, a new home. For the first time after 200 years and for the third time in history, the tomb of the Holy Sepulchre was opened, images of the event. The 7th edition of the Palestinian Women's Micro-Enterprise Bazaar, hosted by the U.S. Consulate, involving artists, manufacturers of goods, and small entrepreneurs of Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza Strip. After a small accident that occurred 10 years ago, the Palestinian artist Yazan Kharib paints with Arabic coffee. 50 exhibitions already show his work. One of the most beautiful landscapes of the Holy Land, the desert of Judea, is rich in natural reserves. Walking through it is like taking a stroll through the pages of Jesus' life and God's people.
Children of all ages and backgrounds, lots of smiles, pure joy. The new St. Rachel Center, founded by the St. James Vicariate for Hebrew-speaking Catholics to house the children of immigrants in Israel, including small children, was indeed blessed in this family atmosphere. Sinhalese, Eritreans, Filipinos, Ethiopians, a welcoming church that responds positively to the call for help. This new center provides more than a valuable childcare.
As you well know, we have a big challenge now of welcoming into the arms of the church many migrants, labor migrants and refugees who are asylum seekers, and the big challenge of taking care of their children. Their babies, under 3, completely exposed, probably the most fragile population in Israel right now. And then the children who are over 3 and go to school but have nowhere to go after school because their parents are working very hard. They need help with homework.
In the afternoon of Thursday, November 10th, in an intimate and simple ceremony, the Apostolic Administrator for the Latin Patriarchate, Monsignor Pizzaballa, inaugurated this new center, a project made possible through the generosity of donors such as the Knights of the Holy Sepulchre, the Pontifical Mission, World Vision, and the Dear Foundation.
We squeezed them into our little house before the St. James Vicariate until one day Father Kustos, Father Pizzaballa, came and said, too small, the house is too small, look for something bigger. And thanks be to God, the Capuchin Fathers have welcomed us here, allowed us to reconstruct a part of their property.
A center with multiple functions, open daily. Kindergarten for about 30 children who from 7:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. have a home. And after school for over 40 children, 80 during the holidays, who will get help with homework and a safe place to stay. And finally, a place for young Hebrew-speaking Catholics who now have a place where to meet and pray, where to retreat and have fun during the weekend.
And I'm really happy because we start a new center, bigger. We can have more children. We can do better the work with all the children.
I am very happy to arrive in a city so truly cosmopolitan and full of tradition and culture and rich with different rites. I am happy to work every day among children who all come from different countries. Some are Ethiopians, some Eritreans, others Filipinos or from Sri Lanka. Musa, for example, is half Arabic and half Filipino.
This center is dedicated to Rachel, the matriarch, whose love for her children is described by Jeremiah and then is quoted in the New Testament in reference to the massacre of the innocents. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are no more.
And we want this center to be a place where Mother Rachel can pray for us, of course Mother Mary and all the other great mothers of the Bible, but particularly Rachel, who in the New Testament is remembered as crying, that she will come here and she will laugh and smile and rejoice.
A center that fully embodies the words of Pope Francis, who says that through children we realize the dream of God in history. Children, in fact, are the future, are the strength. Those who are carrying on, they are those in whom we place hope.
60 hours. This is how long the tomb of Jesus, kept in the edicule of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, remained open from October 26 for the first time after 200 years and for the third time in history. These are the images with the marble slab of the altar temporarily removed, from which a second cracked plate emerged from below the original rock. Through both direct and non-invasive methods such as ultrasound or X-ray, different types of analysis are being performed to study not only the actual tomb but also the presence of rock on the sides of the tomb. The new look of the edicule will further facilitate the movement of visitors and the preservation of the place until the conclusion of work scheduled for next Easter in March 2017. They come from Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza Strip, and each of them brings a unique facet of their own tradition. They are the Palestinian women of the Palestinian Women's Micro-Enterprise Bazaar, an event organized by the U.S. Consulate in Jerusalem, which took place on November 16 and 17 at the Ambassador Hotel.
I draw for books and short stories for children. Unfortunately, there are no publishing houses in Gaza, so all my work is abroad. Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Several of my books were published, but sadly I have not been able to receive them. When I first heard of this bazaar, I was excited. I had an idea to print the drawings of my books in postcards, shirts, or notebook covers, so that people who could not have my books could still see my work.
A lot of us from, for example, Bethlehem, we don't usually have the possibility to come to Jerusalem and show our product. So this is a great opportunity where foreigners and people from Jerusalem see it.
This is the 7th edition of an event that each year brings together artists and manufacturers of goods specialized in creations that reflect and give new life to the traditions of their people. While walking among the show booths, one comes across accessories and food as well as precious and unique tools.
I started creating clothes, and at a certain point I was invited to take part in Amman Fashion Week, and I wanted to show that I'm from Bethlehem. So I thought and I was like, what's very specific of Bethlehem? And I thought olive wood. So I was like, okay, I want to create something for my clothes for women from olive wood, and I created this accessories.
I started working in my mother's shop until I got the idea of producing traditional corners to decorate homes, and I have been doing this since 2013. Currently 16 women work for me in this project.
I'm very much interested in Palestinian, Arab and Islamic art. Therefore, I try as much as possible in my gallery, which is in Al-Bire, Ramallah, to incorporate it all and give a wide picture.
The women involved participate in a special training where they learn about product development, marketing, relationship with the client, including communication and online promotion, especially in complex situations where traditional trading methods are difficult to apply.
My craft project is called Needle and Thread and is 100% handmade. The idea originated from the need of survival since there's no employment in Gaza. I have a lot of requests from the West Bank, but the closure of borders makes it difficult to import and export from Gaza. It is also complicated to get raw materials, and my work suffers. For me, it was a great opportunity to come to Jerusalem because out of 30 women who have asked permission, only 7, including me, managed to get it.
Among the booths packed with visitors, past and present meet, leaving room for possible new combinations.
I have been doing this since I was 8 years old. It is an ancient Palestinian tradition. We get these wires from the ears of corn. We color them with a special dye, and once ready, we use them and we put everything in it.
I bought this, it's called sal. This they used to use it in weddings. They put the arak inside and the peanuts around, and they put it on top of people's head, and they go to the wedding. With makhtari ya helwa ya zina, that's it.
He is a unique artist. Yazangre replaces oil paints and watercolors with Arabic coffee that he buys at the grocery store at the Daisha refugee camp near the village of Hortas in Bethlehem. He began drawing his pictures with coffee after a small accident happened during his art studies in Damascus about 10 years ago. Since then, his works incorporate Arabic coffee, snippets of history, traditional heritage, and the creations of his imagination.
I was working on my project for my university degree. One day while I was drinking a hot coffee with hookah, the full cup fell on the picture that I was drawing in pencil. I had no time to fix or clean it. I had to go to college. When I returned home, I realized that the coffee on the painting had dried, creating a very nice effect. So I decided to present my coffee-painted project.
Before starting to paint, Yazan prepares the coffee on low heat, preparing to receive not his friends, but another type of guests, the flickering of his mind and the fruits of his imagination, which then he incorporates into a framework with an extraordinary talent.
People were used to seeing oil paint and watercolor and pencil drawings, but the colors of the coffee are totally different. People drink liquid coffee, but I decided to let them taste the coffee with their eyes.
Soul Aroma is the name of the exhibition, 23 paintings. The Palestinian painter, exhibiting in various towns and cities, is spreading a new style, a journey that began when he was 8 years old and continues through artistic experiments that reflect an innovative vision.
I try to create works that are inexpensive. The coffee is not expensive, but with a great artistic value.
This is an arid landscape where nature appears faint with pastel tones and where greenery peeks out here and there, losing its intensity in the heat. This is the famous desert of Judea, mentioned in the biblical narrative of the New and the Old Testament as one of the most beautiful landscapes of the Holy Land. The desert region is located a few kilometers from Jerusalem. Starting from the Holy City and going in the direction of the Dead Sea, one can admire the mountainous landscape in which the Arab Bedouin nomad communities live. An area of 1,500 square kilometers, bordered by the mountains of Judea and the Dead Sea, a land rich in natural reserves, mountains, peaks, and riverbeds. Some of the typical animals of this region are the camels, very common in this region. Resistant to heat, camels can hold on to water and energy to cross the desert, and they are also a tourist attraction.
I enjoy it. It's really different from taking a horse to taking a camel. It's too high. If you're afraid of heights, I don't advise, but you should conquer it because it's really a good experience.
A visit to these arid landscapes is also part of the itinerary of pilgrimages.
It's an awesome experience. It's very nice to stay here and to see what had happened in the past. At first we are just reading it in the Bible, and now we're here. Wow, it's such an awesome experience.
We really enjoy here in the desert. Yeah, we also feel the presence of God here.
The presence of God was already perceived in this place millennia ago, since the beginning of the history of God's people.
A Bíblia, praticamente, ela nasce no meio do deserto, a gente pode dizer.
The Bible started out essentially in the desert. The Old Testament reveals in the first place the figure of Abraham, who seeks hope in his task of building a nation. Later in the history of Israel, we see the figure of Moses in the first desert experience, not as an escape, but with the question to God, "Who are you? Where do I go?"
Mas como aquela pergunta, quem és tu? Para onde eu vou?
God commanded him to lead the people to the promised land. Therefore, the Israelites wandered through the wilderness for 40 years.
E ele vai diante da corte para a libertação.
He agreed to lead his people for their liberation, and this resulted in the encounter with God in the desert.
Do encontro com Deus.
John the Baptist, whose mission was to prepare the coming of the Messiah, probably lived here. The desert is located on the shores of the Jordan River, where John preached repentance and forgiveness of sins, and where Jesus was baptized. After being baptized, Jesus went through a powerful experience in the desert.
Ele faz 40 dias a experiência logo depois do batismo no
Immediately after his baptism here in the Holy Land, and for 40 days, Jesus went through a powerful experience in the desert where he was tempted by the devil. This experience was a preparation for the great temptations of the world, the temptation to be more, to have more, and the temptation of power.
A tentação do poder.
The place where this Christ's life event took place is the Mount of Temptation, on which a Greek Orthodox monastery now stands. The image of the desert has become one of the main symbols of the Holy Land. It is still fascinating for its significant physical features and for its relevance in the Holy Scriptures. As reported by the prophet Hosea, the desert is not a place of suffering, escape, or danger, but the encounter with love of God for his people.
Então, em Oséias,
the book of Hosea chapter 2 verse 16 says, "Therefore, behold, I will seduce her and lead her into the desert and speak to her heart." Then in verse 21 he says, "I will make you my wife forever. I will betroth you in uprightness and justice, in love and tenderness."
The mission of the Christian Media Center is to bring the message of the Holy Land, the land of the fifth gospel, to the world. Broadcasts, reports, news, documentaries, the latest happenings in the church and of the daily life of Christians in the Holy Land. You can help us in this mission, raising awareness and spreading the message of the Holy Land. Help us. Visit our website,